Oh, yes.
Welcome back, everyone. Today I've got a review for the new Micromasters Direct Hit and Power Punch. These two are part of the final wave of Micromasters for the Siege toy line, along with Ratbat and Rumble. These two are Micromaster combiners from the old G1 toy line. So two individual robots that merge together to make one vehicle mode. Big difference this time around is that each one has a believable vehicle mode on its own. So you know, if you lose one, it's not worthless. You don't have half a vehicle. So I think that's for the best. So if you know my reviews, you know how this goes. We're gonna take a look at the packaging. We'll see the instructions for the toys, and then take a look at Direct Hit and Power Punch themselves in both their vehicle modes, their robot mode, do some group shots, things like that. And of course, at the end, I will give my final thoughts. So right up front, you see these two in their packaging, and they just really stand out. They're just gorgeous, you know, late 80s, early 90s neon color that, you know, the tail end of G1 and beginning of G2 are really famous for. And it's an aesthetic that I always found very cool. I know some people hate it. I think it's fun and goofy. Reminds me of simpler times when everything was radical. They have this really cool artwork here of the two in their vehicle modes, just driving into battle, shooting at the Autobots there. And in case you didn't see, this is number 47 in the Siege line. So go ahead and flip this over. You can see the team name here. They're called the Decepticon Battle Squad. And unlike most of the other Micromaster teams we've gotten in Siege, which were, you know, teams of 4 that were split in half and only got, you know, 2 out of the 4 for each one. These are a self-contained, you know, duo, so it doesn't feel as incomplete as the others. Anyway, we got Direct Hit here, takes 5 steps to transform. Power Punch only takes 4. And then down at the bottom shows 8 face wielding their gun mode, which looks a lot more solid than most of the weapon modes for these. And hopefully that means I'll not dislike it so much. All right, so here's their little instruction sheet. Power Punch, Direct Hit, or Subtron Siege 47. And let's open this guy up. And this shows you how to put Power Punch's little cannon on his back there, because it can be removed and used like a handheld gun. It's got a 5mm port there, or a 5mm peg. Pretty cool. Instructions to transform them to their individual vehicle modes. How to combine the two really is just pegging one into the other. Apparently their weapon mode is incredibly powerful, max stats, so that's pretty cool. First time I've seen that. And from the looks of the render, definitely one of the more solid looking weapon modes, like a bazooka or something. All right, here are guys in their vehicle modes. Got Power Punch here with the cannon that does articulate, go up and down, and also slots into place. And then you got Direct Hit, much more traditional looking vehicle. It actually has something that looks like the front, whereas this is requires some imagination, I guess. But they're both pretty solid. I love the coloring on them. The roll, that doesn't roll too great. What about this guy? A little better. So we'll seem to have trouble getting some traction on the ground, which is a shame. But they're simple. Very cool looking though. Look like something out of a Hot Wheels collection. And I'm gonna go ahead and convert these directly to their weapon mode first, just because it makes the most sense to do so. And all you do for that is you take a Direct Hit, this little peg here, fold it down, plug it directly into Power Punch, like that. And then this becomes a handle for the larger gun. And these are, I guess, like the barrels here. One thing worth pointing out too is that, look at the top, their heads are turned around. You can see the back of their heads there, so their faces aren't just poking up, which instructions actually tell you to do that. Their heads do articulate. And, you know, this kind of solves one of the big problems with other Micromaster weapons is usually you can just see their face staring at you from the weapon mode. So this helps mitigate the appearance that it's just two robots slapped together. And could be wrong, but I believe this is the first time a Siege Micromaster had their instructions, explicitly tell you to turn the head around. Most of them either don't have the ability or lack the clearance to make it very easy to get that head spun around. In fact, he's not much better. His power punch's head is pretty hard to get because of this piece of plastic blocking it, but it's doable. You gotta kind of get your finger in there and turn it little by little. Oh, and I didn't explicitly state it, but this weapon mode, when turned, right side up, is their combined vehicle mode as well. So, they become this very large, armored, weapon of war kind of thing. Very neat. Still doesn't roll worth a dookie, but, it's cool, and I like the fact that the main cannon can go up and down. Too bad it can't spin, but, small price point. And here's a shot of old Ape-Face wielding them in their weapon mode, just to show off how big this thing is. You can see he can't bend his elbow very far because of the size of the gun. It was very heavy, backstock on it. So, you won't be able to articulate very well. This is held pretty much like a bazooka. Could mitigate that by attaching it to a forearm or a shoulder hole if they have it. So there is always that. But yeah, this looks pretty cool. Fairly solid. Looks a lot better than a lot of the other, weapon modes, and holds together much better. There's no flopping around or anything. It's very solid connection. So one of my favorites so far. I think this and the jet sword thing are really up there in my book compared to the others. All right, now we're going to convert these guys to the robot modes. So first thing you do is separate them. Fold this peg back up like that. Let's go ahead and do direct hit first. So you're going to unfold his legs here, kind of pegged in, so just pull him out. And these pieces here fold in to become the bottoms of his feet, like so. And you just kind of lower his shoulders a bit and turn his head around. He's the easier one to do this because you can actually get in there. Yeah, that's his robot mode. Yeah, it's pretty fully articulated for Micromaster. It's got the shoulder ball joint, hip ball joints, single bend at the knees. Actually, it's a ball joint at the knees, so you get a little more flexibility out of him. And his head does turn, so you can put him in more dynamic poses, which is really neat. Very good looking little guy. I'll take Power Punch. Kind of the same transformation scheme. Just fold his feet down, separate them, detach his arms from the side, bring the shoulders down. They're a little tougher to get than direct hits. Now, for the real pain. I find it easier if you just kind of fold an arm back and you just get in there and start pulling at his face, basically, trying to gain some purchase on any surface you can with your fingernails. And I'm getting it here little by little. Whoops, too far. Go back a little. Yeah, enough. All right. Make sure the gun's pointing up so it's not in the way. And there you go, there's Power Punch. So these both have really nice matching color schemes, which, obviously they're gang molded. One big difference in their coloration is that you can see Power Punch uses silver accents on his chest, whereas Direct Hit uses purple. Also, Power Punch's face is painted a bright yellow color, whereas Direct Hit's is more of a gold or like a bronze color. So yeah, they coordinate very well together. They both look cool and make for a very handsome pair. Now, I know this is kind of a short review because there's just not a whole lot to the Micromasters. They're very small, very simple. But just trying to get my final thoughts on these. I think they're both just great to look at in every mode. They really do capture the look, the aesthetic of the original toys, which I wish I had to show you, but I don't. Obviously, they have a lot more articulation than the original toys, which is great. So I think this has been one of the best updates to a Micromaster team thus far. And again, because it's only a 2-man team, Vice 4-man, you actually get the full team in this pack, which is good. It doesn't feel, incomplete at all. As I already said, I think they have one of the best, if not the best, weapon mode out of all of the Siege Micromasters. And I think these guys are just a lot of fun to play with. They really take me back to a simpler time. Now, they are wave mates with Rat, Bat, and Rumble, who I have yet to track down. Stumbled upon these two on a target, and sadly no Rat, Bat, or Rumble in sight. But these two do a good job holding me over because they're just a lot of fun to look at, to play with. and they'll definitely make a great addition to your Transformer seed shelf. But, of course, that's just my opinion. Perhaps you disagree? I'd love to hear your feedback in the comments section. If you enjoyed this review, go ahead and give it a like. Let YouTube know that you're enjoying these. If you want to see more reviews like it or any of my other content, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you always get a heads up when I post something new. I thank you for joining me for this look at Power Punch and Direct Hit. And with all that said, I will see you next time.